What we're saying is, if you are a person that believes in an individual's right to choose, then you have to acknowledge the right to choose of the boss. Now, could they decide to operate differently? Yes. As a matter of fact, there's some businesses here that they ain't even studying nothing about vaccine and the employees. Right. So it's just a matter of can you and what do you support? That's all it is. Is what you support. Do you support people's right to choose or not? That's all I was proposing. That's all it is. Right. So people can make decisions just like how you have in other words, just like you have a decision whether or not to take the vaccine or not.
Yes.
An employer then has the right to decide, okay, I am going to allow my employees based on the situation to remain safe in this way. Whether that way is non-pharmaceutical measures or vaccination. Like they have that choice as well. That's all I'm saying. So hopefully based on what you're saying, you'd like to see more employers.
Flexibility.
Right. Okay then. We got you. We're on the same page. Got you.
Flexibility. Not termination. Blam blam and it done. No.
I got you.
Yes, please. We want. You see, because what we are trying to, we are human beings. And we have to use discretion. And what we are trying to do is to avoid, Miss Henry said one time, I spoke about Bam Bam. In Jamaica, when they say Bam Bam, is like, Bam Bam not pretty. Bam Bam is not a pretty thing. Bam Bam is when it reaches the point of turmoil. You understand me? And Miss Henry say, encouraging Bam Bam. But I personally, because I've experienced Bam Bams, I am trying to avoid Bam Bams. You see me? Right. So it's just for us as a people to meet each other along the way.
I got you, brother. I got you.
To avoid Bam Bams, which is not pretty. It's ugly. You with me?
Yeah, man. I got you.
Yes.
I appreciate it.
Give thanks for the reasoning.
Yeah, man.
I pick up that. When I hear the reasoning about a man taking selfie, taking thing in his back. No, I laugh.
Enjoy the best of your day, brother. Enjoy the best of your day.
Yeah, I laugh because personally, I have spoken to many of my brethren and sisterins because women produced it. I have spoken to many of my brethren and sisterins and told them they must not do these things. That's their personal business. Keep these things private.
Right. Well, you're definitely on the same page.
Things. I mean, what you want to do that for?
I don't know. But we're gonna have to move. We're gonna have to move on. Yeah, man. Blessed. Bye.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Hump day.
Alright, shenanigans.
Oh boy. Welcome back, Kevin.
Thanks.
No, guys. So it's not that. That should.
Yes, Jay. Just leave it with the blame now.
Our good old internet just dropped out. But welcome back, guys.
Welcome back.
Happy to see you here again. For our YouTube listeners, it's so funny, right? Like the live dropped out, but Facebook was completely fine. It came back up with the same.
No, it's just the way the algorithm works. So Facebook, you could continue. You'll just continue once
Sometimes.
it have ended. Yeah.
Sometimes.
But, yeah.
But yes, no Axeman gang on because anyway.
Hey, you guys been watching the ISIS
Nope.
recruitment videos?
Nope.
Neither me.
No thanks.
No, neither me.
I don't want to miss spirit.
Neither me.
I remember the old ones from a long time. I'm good on those.
No. On a serious joke. On a serious level, sorry.
On a serious joke.
Those do exist. But
Totally do.
on a serious level, like the ISIS videos now.
Wild.
But the man step up the production. Yeah.
Wilder.
Like he went through a couple of phases. The first set of like recruitment videos was just like beheading sheep and so. And then
No, the beheading people?
No, that was like the second like installment.
Oh,
And then they went to like these Bollywood type they went to these Bollywood type advertisements. But now they literally look like the US Army, like recruitment videos. It's like guys training, well produced. The music is right. It's like they have composers and everything now. But I was like, yo, ISIS doing it
They
back.
had to step up to the times. They realized the younger people them need more than just, killing sheep and stuff. So they had to,
There's ISIS TikToks. Like, yo, it's wild out there, man.
That is wild as hell.
The internet.
ISIS TikTok?
No, but you see, for me, that is less wild than my 5-year-old niece dancing in her panties on like TikTok. But for some reason that they seem like to be normal.
Y'all need to monitor y'all kids on these apps, okay? Because
not let them go on. Why just not let them go on? If you are not old enough, right?
All right.
To stay home by yourself,
you shouldn't have a TikTok.
You shouldn't be able to just bring people into your house via the internet.
And all when they're old enough, they still do nonsense. So
Exactly.
monitor y'all kids, please.
Exactly.
There's so many predators out here who love that app called TikTok.
And Snapchat.
Oh yeah. So when you think you're 10-year-old out here talking to your friend from school, is some grown man trying to figure out where she lives and what time you just be at work and if she just be home by herself. So you have to you really have to monitor these kids on these apps, honestly.
Predators are lurking, guys. Real talk. Predators are lurking. You think not only you and to be fair, the child might think they're talking to a 12-year-old guy from California, ain't talking to the perv down the street. Like,
yeah, monitor wickets, please.
Yes, please. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Anyway, come on, what else is on the agenda?
Right. Let's see. So let's talk about something regional. Let's talk about La Soufrière. So La Soufrière has ended its eruptive phase currently, says the scientists.
Really, boy, finally.
Seismic activity at La Soufrière volcano in St. Vincent and the Grenadines continues to remain low, with only a few earthquakes recorded over the weekend, about 5 or 10 overall. This is according to Professor Richard Robertson, who is back as lead scientist monitoring the La Soufrière volcano. Robertson says that the numbers and signals in terms of the monitoring network continue to indicate that this is a system that has ended its eruptive phase. Currently, where what you are having, at least, is at the summit, is residual activity. He says there are things that could still impact people like Lahaz, where material is still shifting. He said that essentially the mountain is trying to get itself back to a stable state. That means all the material at the top is either going to come down and enter the sea or be stabilized by vegetation. The professor notes that the most significant thing that happens on Sunday was the rainfall, with Lahaz being recorded. He warns that going forward, the public would have to pay more attention to the weather, especially persons who live in the areas that could be affected by Lahaz. For people who don't know what a Lahar is, Miss Edmead told me, and I will tell you. So a Lahar is a destructive mud flow on the slopes of volcanoes. So when it rains and the volcanic loose soil mixes, it creates like a giant mudslide. So
we got Miss Edmead one time.
Right? So Robertson says that the rainy season is over and all the material at the summit he said, until the rainy season is over and the material at the summit has become stabilized, the island is going to have whenever the rain falls, Lahars passing through the areas where people live. So just be mindful for those who are living in the area that, when rain falls, be careful, be on the lookout, because that is currently the issue at hand, is that the loose material on the sides of the mountain can still move until vegetation solidifies it and grows, and the roots hold it together, or it takes itself down to the sea. So
honestly, right, I feel like a lot of people forgot that this was happening because of all the other things that were happening.
There's so much happening.
There is so much happening that everybody forgot that, yes, St. Vincent had an active volcano.
I think too, what's important here is that we recognize that this, as much as this news is welcome, it does not signal like a return to normalcy or end of the crisis.
Mm-mm.
Like, only now clean up in some of these places could actually start.
Yep.
People are
Yeah.
only now being able to return to their homes after months. Like it's now is when the work start to try and somehow salvage a lot of these places and things. But yeah, to the people of St. Vincent, by horse train by.
I'm going through a lot by. But guess what? According to Uncle Ralph, y'all alive.
I'm alive. When you Hey, when I told you that there, right?
Gosh. This
When I
really
when I
happened.
told you that, right? I thought, and I got this from the WINNFM YouTube page, just so you guys saw WINNMedia SKN if you want to see this video. It's a video of him actually coming out of the arrival hall and the start of the motorcade. You know, the first song was
No.
I was buried alive. I'm still breathing. I was like,
Why are you so dramatic?
who choose these songs by?
Why are y'all so dramatic, man?
I said, he talking about him or the people who was living up by the Sufria?
Listen, Uncle Ralph say y'all can't keep a good man down, okay?
But when I hear Buju, right?
Yeah, the Sizzler, that was supposed to be the first song.
Which one?
Can't keep a good man down. that should have been the first song. As you come out, bust the Sizzler, you transition into the Bujo. And then you continue with the I'm Alive.
That was so sickening.
But I couldn't believe that
We
was a real
sickening
thing.
we chose the songs down.
Yeah. They had a MC for the motorcade.
And the MC was just like, you know what? This is my time to shine. I got you, Uncle Ralph.
I couldn't believe I was saying that.
No, I would really love to know what the conversation was for that planning. I wish I could hear. No, I wish I could hear it, like the inception of that idea. Okay, so
Yes.
Ralph, how you gonna handle your return? I think we should bust some tunes, and then
Motorcade.
Yeah.
what motorcade? Let's do a motorcade, and let's let them know that they try to catch you, they didn't catch me. So let's pick some songs that talk about survivor. Like
Yes.
what have been
Oh my
wicked.
gosh,
Like if you come off the plane and you hear like Destiny's Child, I'm a survivor.
The man had a survivors playlist.
Hey, the
Boy.
Caribbean has to be the best reality show
The
of all time.
politicians are
And the thing
hilarious.
is, the funny part about it is that it's free.
Free entertainment.
Yeah.
Free entertainment.
I could not pay for the stuff I tried.
The only channel that might be close to the Caribbean might be Florida.
Yes.
That might be the only channel that's a little
No,
close.
Florida's a different
Yeah,
breed.
see that a man in Florida tried to sell a house that he
That he
didn't
belong,
own.
that he ain't own. Yeah.
The man had a whole realtor come and do all the stuff that they need to do. And the man house, like only in Florida, boy. Only in Florida.
But that seemed like a jiggy hustle though, man. Tell you
yeah,
that.
man. The man see a big house. He said, I could sell this.
I mean that's
Okay, sir.
that's one thing. I mean, but since we're talking about what happening in Florida versus what happening here, I mean, we do have governments that selling the same piece of land to people 3 times.
In St. Kitts?
Come on, let's move on.
What you saying, Fred?
All right, so let's.
Hello, pause. You don't. No.
So
No,
Jade, this
no,
is
no.
Jade's pick. So Marburg virus, a man who died in Guinea found to have a disease. So Guinea health officials have confirmed West Africa's first case of Marburg, a highly infectious disease that is the same family as the virus that causes Ebola. So the WHO said that
Vibes.
the virus needed to be stopped in its tracks. Marburg virus disease is transmitted from to people from fruit bats and spreads. What's up with these bats?
I just about to say, whoever doing PR for bats, right? Y'all doing a terrible job because it seems like all the diseases
Anyway.
start with a bat.
Transmitted to people from fruit bats and spreads between humans through the transmission of bodily fluids. Cases are extremely rare, with the last major outbreak in Angola in 2005. It is a severe, often fatal illness with symptoms including headache, fever, muscle pains, vomiting, and bleeding. The no treatment yet exists for Marburg, but doctors say that drinking plenty of water, staying hydrated, and treating specific symptoms improves a patient's chances of survival. Samples taken from the patient in Guinea, who has since died, were tested in the country's laboratories and returned a positive result for Marburg virus. Oh my God, can we just not?
I mean, we never finish with one. We have a whole other one. Like, please don't let this turn into a whole outbreak, a whole pandemic. Get it together early, please. Do not treat this like how we all treated coronavirus, and let it spread. Contain it. We're dealing with enough.
I talk about viruses enough today. So remember that conversation we were having yesterday
Which one?
about the fact that the best we could probably get from corona is maybe an endemic, but we ain't gonna actually get rid of it like smallpox.
Mm-hmm.
I want to have the conversation here, but I feel we don't talk enough about coronavirus.
We're gonna talk about it tomorrow.
I had enough.
Yeah.
I had enough for the day.
Just don't let it spread. Anyway,
Yeah, hopefully.
there's not a hopefully thing, Do not let it spread. We have enough dealing with. Thank you.
I want that, Carla.
Not really, but anyway. Kevon, let's try to at least get to the stories for once this week.
The people don't know how much stories we got,
They don't know. They don't know how I stop at night and look for all these stories, and then we come in here we talk about too.
Yeah, I was saying they don't know. So they're good.
You want to talk about our friend in NY, Mr. Cuomo? Yeah.
Cuomo.
Former
Yeah, sure.
NY governor.
Mm.
Talk about Cuomo.
Alright, this man, hey, watch yo. Cuomo is one of them stories. When you hear about fall from grace, they should just show like Cuomo face.
Because boy,
Yeah,
oh
Cuomo
boy.
had
Cuomo was
Fall
like
from
2 years,
grace.
like a year ago. Cuomo was like a superstar.
Oh yeah, the next thing you know, that man just was like,
Cuomo had
The
a
man
fall.
said,
That's
"No, but
literally
he might actually run
fall
for the
from
president.
grace.
yep.
Yeah, he might actually run for the president. But I don't see this. I don't think this is no conspiracy. Though,
No
like.
boy, this.
No,
You
no,
don't
no,
show.
bro. Yeah, bro. Yo,
Oh boy, come on,
you got caught.
you dead ass.
You got caught.
Well, here we go. So, New York Governor Andrew Cuomo resigns over sexual harassment allegations. Governor Andrew Cuomo resigned over a barrage of sexual harassment allegations Tuesday in a fall from grace, a year after he was widely hailed nationally for his detailed daily briefings and leadership during the darkest days of COVID-19 in New York City.
As in, you rate this?
And stand to wonder now.
The three-term governor's decision, which will take effect in 2 weeks, was announced as momentum built in the legislature to remove him by impeachment. It became after New York's Attorney General released the results of an investigation that found Cuomo sexually harassed at least 11 women. Investigators said that he subjected women to unwanted kisses, groped their breasts and buttocks, or otherwise touched them inappropriately. He made insinuating remarks about their looks and their sex lives and created a work environment that is rife with fear and intimidation. Lieutenant Governor Kathy Hoke, I don't know his name, Hochul, a 62-year-old Democrat and former member of Congress from the Buffalo area, will become the state's 57th governor and the first woman to hold the post. Oy. So Cuomo still faces the possibility of criminal charges, with a number of prosecutors around the state moving to investigate him.
Boy.
The string of accusations that spelled the governor's downfall began to unfold in the news reports last December and went on for months. Cuomo called some of the allegations fabricated, forcefully denying that he touched anyone appropriately, but he acknowledged making some aides uncomfortable with comments he said he intended as playful and apologized for some of his behavior.
Sure he did. Listen, far too often we see people in these type of positions taking advantage because of their positions. It's like they feel like because they have these positions, like nobody going ever talk about it.
Right. Yeah,
That's not true.
But yeah, what you're saying is true, Jade. But the truth is that people just do not respect other people's physical boundaries.
They don't.
Like, this is the thing too. You guys, and I speak directly to the men. You see, sometimes you're in a work environment and you make joke like you don't know how somebody can take your so-called joke, and it's unfortunate that people at this point a lot of times can't tell when person's intentions are not to offend and whatever. But the best thing for you to do, bro, just keep it professional and keep it moving. Keep it professional and keep it moving. And I'm saying that even here, like, yeah, you might be able to make that joke with Hillary, but don't make that joke. And Stacey might not like it. And you can't be vexed with Stacey because Hillary was cool. That's what I'm saying. Just
boundaries.
Just keep it professional and keep it moving, bro. And it's unfortunate, I think, because, the truth is a lot of long-term relationships and stuff like that do spark from interactions in the office and things like that, right? That's where you meet a lot of the people. Like my parents met at work.
Yeah.
Right? And that's just what it is. But you have to remain professional. You have to understand people's boundaries.
Read the room.
Like,
just read the room.
Read the room. Like, people don't do that. You can't just judge. You can't just go based off of your desires and your sensibilities and your.
Inside work.
Inside work. Inside work.
Inside work, sir.
Inside work. Inside
Boy,
work.
I was listening to one of his former employees talk about what he did, and she was saying that he used to make like jokes and all of these things, and then he used to get a little touchy, and then I guess it progressed from just being, that type of touchy to then he asked to take a selfie with her, and then she was like, okay, even though it was a little odd.
A little weird, yeah.
She was like, okay, but then the selfie turned into him groping her breast and all of these things, so like.
Watch her, right? Watch her, this push the boundary thing, now I need to cool. You know what it is too? Men, and let's talk specifically to men in power, right? Let's speak specifically to managers, to general managers, CEOs, right?
Board members,
employers and all them there. You all ain't that cool, Jared. A lot of these men, what happens is they have this high opinion of themselves and believe that everybody else shares the same opinion.
They do.
I disagree. I think they don't have a high opinion of themselves, so they use their power to convince themselves of such.
Well, whether it's delusion or reality.
I think it's more of I'm super in. I don't believe it, but my position puts me in a place where it could be possible. So please convince me that it is.
I got you.
That's a good one.
But yes, a lot of these dudes, they feel like cool, and in like what Kevin is saying, sometimes they feel their position makes them cool and desirable.
It doesn't.
No, like that's not, and again,
it actually makes you creepy.
No, but it might for some people. Don't get me wrong. For some people that might. But you know what the difference is? It's not for you to decide what this person feels about your position or who you are, your personality. It's not for you to decide. So you don't impose that on people. Right? There might be a lovely young lady who just loves to see you in your suit on Monday mornings.
You're tired of sweat.
But it's not for you to decide.
Yeah, you can't just say, well, she likes me, so I can just do whatever. Inside work. Yeah.
Because the thing is too, it also acts as like a security blanket for them too. Is that I'm now going to attempt to do anything because I'm a bit untouchable.
That is exactly how they think. They think that they can't be punished because of their position. Oh, I'm the CEO, so I could do what I want, and no repercussions going to come out of it because I'm the CEO. Like, there's job security. Some women are afraid to speak up. Some women and men are afraid to speak up because they don't want to jeopardize their job.
Thank you for saying that, Jade. Thank you for saying that so much, because a lot of times we feel like this only goes in one direction.
Boy, men
and as a matter
these things too.
As a matter of fact, I think that because we have seen so many women be brave enough to say, hey, I didn't like this. This made me uncomfortable. And that's not necessarily the case with men, because men get ridiculed if they do the same thing, that a lot of women are empowered to do this kind of thing too.
Yeah.
It's a problem all around.
It is.
Professionalism, guys.
We have a problem with keeping our hands to ourselves. That's the problem. You do not understand or respect people's boundaries.
Rope somebody on your job, bye. I'm tell you bye.
And now we're fighting because I'm kicking your short.
Yeah, you did do that. But you know what this signals to me though? This so-called fall from grace. See, I don't believe that him or other people who end up in this situation are the only that, right? So it speaks to a dualism. right? It speaks to a dualism where, yes, you may be a good politician, you may be good at your job, you may be a good financial analyst.
But
you
you're
might,
also a pervert.
you might be a good parent. You could be all these things and still
Just
have
there.
these things about you. And one of the things for me too is that I think as society we have to recognize that that is the case, because when you use your power and influence in these types of like problematic ways, yeah, you have to pay a cost for that. You have to pay a cost, right? One of the problems I have though is that everything else kind of goes out the window with that. And knowing that that's the case, that's even more reason why we all have to kind of watch what we're doing. Right?
Exactly.
You have to watch what you're doing.
Exactly.
You have to watch what you're doing.
Like, too often we've heard of, like, people, like, pastors and all these people who, yes, they may be men of the cloth, as they say, but behind closed doors, they're doing all kind of things that they shouldn't be doing. So, and I think, matter of fact, I think that sometimes blinds people to the fact that these people are capable of the things that they do because of who they think that they are. Like, or you think it's your pastor from church and he's such a good guy and he does all these things. And if an allegation comes out saying, okay, well, you know, he was inappropriate with your child or your spouse or whoever it may be, the first thing y'all think to do is, no, defend him, because that's the pastor and the pastor wouldn't do that in your mind. And that is why they often get away with a lot of things, because people hold them to these type of standards, and when they do things that they shouldn't do, there is no accountability because of who they are seemed to be in society. We gotta cut that out. Like, we really gotta cut that out. That is endangering us.
Yeah. I think that one of the things though that is interesting in this case, and I think it might have been Jetudi allude to it. There's no, like, if you're really looking at this situation, I think the headline is a bit misleading, where they say, you know, he resigned over the slew of allegations. Like, I don't really agree. I think he really fell out with the Democratic Party, and they obviously in very political ways withdrew their support.
Yeah.
And I think that was more the impetus. Was this a big part of it? Yes, but
he also said it's because he thinks that this whole thing will be distracting the people of NY from what they're supposed to be trying to achieve, which is battling the coronavirus. So he said he didn't want to be a distraction as well. So
I don't know about that, but
because I'm gonna worry about you instead of wearing a mask, right?
Yeah, I don't understand. But the thing about the part that really made me go, huh? In regards to his speech was when he started talking about his daughters. Like, that part there just was like, I was just like, bro, stop it, no, stop.
why would you? Anyway.
Cause he goes basically like, his daughters weren't looking at him the same way and stuff like that. So he's going like, so wait, your daughters didn't believe you either? Like,
if your daughters didn't believe you, right?
No, okay, but outside of that, right? My thing was, again,
Oh dear.
time and place, and have that conversation at home.
Yeah,
And so
don't tell us that.
And you know why it is just rub me wrong about it, and I hear thinking about it now. It feels like you politicize the relationship you have with your kids, and so when you start politicizing certain things, it does really rub me the wrong way. Why?
Well, they're politicians, so they will politic.
They will politic, yeah. But them things does really just be like, yo, dude, you could have this conversation at home with your children,
and
not bring them on national television.
But now they're here. Now everybody has them, and now everybody will chop them up, one with the sound bites. And you've basically dug yourself a deeper hole.
Well, I don't even know
if you could dig yourself a deeper hole.
I don't even know if that's the case. Like, he didn't really like throw them under the bus or anything like that.
Well,
with some politicians that do.
Try them under the bus, though.
But yeah, like when you start bringing them kind of things in a situation like this,
everybody was like, so your daughter don't believe in either. Interesting.
And then shut yourself in your foot with that one.
Easy so.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, I'm talking to somebody here, and they're telling me, it's unfortunate that he might have been forced to step down. Where there's other politicians that had similar allegations or
Enough of them.
question. But and that's what I'm saying. I don't think it's the allegation. I think it's the withdrawal of the support from the party that really forced him to have to step down.
Because realistically, Cuomo was like, y'all can say what y'all want, but I gonna do this. Because I feel like this is in best interest of NY. And some of them probably was like, okay, you're going a little rogue. Release the allegations.
Well, it ain't even allegations. I think it's just more like, for instance, right, like he did things too that I didn't really agree. Like, they had the whole, what you call it there? Not the elderly, like the place where elderly people has gone. So the nursing home scandal.
What nursing home scandal?
Like he basically forced like nursing homes to take persons who were either suspected of or was even known to have corona, and that really aided the spread of corona in the nursing homes. And then they lied about the numbers by as much as 50%.
Yikes!
So like that was so
he gotta go.
No, but yes, and this is my thing. Like,
he gotta go, man.
Okay, this is my thing, Jade. At what point do your mistakes overshadow the good?
When you start killing people.
But if you're saving people,
When you start killing people, I tell you.
so it don't matter how much you save.
Nope. When you start to kill them, that's what I
even if killing wasn't your goal, it wasn't your intent.
It wasn't the goal, but it happened. So remember, people only just
You might
focus
not-
on the bad and not don't really care about the good in that aspect, Like you could save 1,000 people, right? And today, you're salt. You literally salt.
Do you think that's how it should be?
No, but that's how it is. That's just how it is.
I think especially now, and I think one of the things that really added to this particular situation too is the proliferation of like cancel culture too.
Oh yeah, that they're alive and lively right now.
Yeah, cancel culture, and I'm not necessarily a big fan of cancel culture, like
No,
personally, but
no.
how people separate certain things by.
What do you mean?
I can't separate certain things. Like remember Michael Vick had dogs fighting and literally went to jail, and then
crucified the man for that.
and then people decided that he couldn't play football again.
Just so you know. I think there's some instances where cancel culture should work. For instance, like the R. Kelly situation.
I disagree.
You don't agree that cancel culture should have worked with R. Kelly?
When you say cancel, what I mean?
Like,
So because he did what he did, he goes to jail. Nobody should play Step in the Name of Love again?
Nobody. I just, you know why? Okay.
So that's what I'm saying. Like,
it feels weird to me hearing certain songs from R. Kelly now because of so like, for instance.
I understand. So what I'm saying is you can make a personal decision whether or not you indulge. If it makes you uncomfortable, you should listen to it. My problem is when there's a call for the streaming services to take it down. No, if I don't want to listen to R. Kelly again, that is my right to not listen to R. Kelly again. But then to go and decide that his music should not be anywhere, nobody should have access to it, wipe it off. Not only that, understanding that there's people who ain't R. Kelly, who that publishing check for the one song there is what feeding the family.
Well,
like that,
they find the guilty to spare for the innocent.
No, but that's the problem.
Innocent to spare for the guilty.
But see, this is my thing too, Nobody is going to let me not say nobody. I am not going to question whether or not his actions were wrong, if he deserves to be in prison, all that. No questions there. But that doesn't somehow negate the fact that the man is a musical genius. He's a musical genius.
Oh well.
And that's the problem. The problem I have is, and this is the same thing, like we just here saying, this thing don't undermine everything else about your character. You do wrong things, you pay prices, you face the consequences for that. But why you want to then decide that means that we somehow have to erase everything else about what you done and what you did?
That's all.
Especially understanding that all of us will do things that we shouldn't do.
Why?
nobody is given the opportunity to evolve. Nobody is given the opportunity to learn. Nobody is given the opportunity to grow.
I don't think I don't think he should be given the opportunity to
why?
learn.
And that's the question you keep saying.
Why
Tell me
not?
why.
Because he is literally a child predator.
But what I got to do with Step in the Name of Love? And all the producers that worked on it, all the songwriters, all the
Yeah, I just don't feel some people should be.
That cannot be a reason. That cannot be a reason. I just don't feel. You don't like the songs, don't listen to them.
Ain't nothing to do with the songs.
That's what we're talking about, Jade.
I'm talking about the person.
Right. So that's what I'm saying. He should be.
So where do you separate the music from the person?
He should be sent to jail or whatever. If you don't like the music, more power. Do not listen to the music. It makes you uncomfortable. You should not listen to the music or be forced to listen to the music. Right? But then all the people that would have contributed, all the people, like, you can't go and take their livelihoods away because this person here did some, and he's already paying for it. It ain't like to say he's out, and so in a way, in the court of public opinion, people decide, well, the court failed. This is how we can get back to it.
What are you talking about, boy?
Who? Axman?
Axman say, yes, certain songs make you think. I believe I Can Fly make you think. He's singing about flying to people's windows and taking their kids like Peter. That's how I feel about AJ, not but a number. So, okay.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. So you do not listen to R. Kelly, which is
I can't.
Right. So
it makes me uncomfortable.
But my thing is, I don't see why you then, because it makes you uncomfortable, should decide that nobody should be able to listen to it.
I don't think we could decide that nobody should.
But that's what is happening. That's the problem with cancel culture. Yeah. The problem with cancel culture is that it goes too far. You know what it is? It's a wider problem. It's a wider problem. The problem is that we've come to a society where we've only been able to classify people into into victims or predators. And so what happens is, like, nobody wants to support a predator. You understand? Nobody wants to support a predator. So it's like, and nobody wants to be accused of somehow supporting the predator in any way. Right?
Vibes Cartel is a good one.
But don't bother talk about Vibes.
That's a good example.
Vibes, the thing with Vibes now, right? People were willing to overlook all the matters of the case because they like the music.
Not only that, the man telling you what he's thinking about all the time. The man been telling you how he'll kill people.
Oh my God.
He been telling you how he'll kill people, you know.
Free Vibes Cartel. Okay, no problem. Why? You believe there was an issue with the case? No, I like your music. I'm like, what?
Bro, the man been telling you all that he killing people. What you want for him? Just because you like your music? That's not, you can't. It can't just be that. It cannot just be, Voice Cartel is a musical genius for him. And
you see, even that is where people. I don't understand how people like draw those lines.
People will still bypass certain things.
People would listen to more Vibes Cartel music about killing people, but then R. Kelly is a child predator. I can't listen to any music because everything now makes me. Even though this songs where the man singing saying, "Bust people head like."
Watch you.
Take me ratchet, bust people head here. Like, you don't mind. You don't mind. Free he, and I gotta listen to his music every week.
Yeah, man. Hard to.
Like people got done with that stupidness, man.
I think we have to take a break. Our guest is ready.
Oh, I'm really looking for this conversation.
Yes, so let's take a break here. And be back with more Island Tea right here with Media SKN. Stay tuned, people.
Maybe it's the way the brilliant gold liquid reflects our sunshine, or how the bright blue of its label mirrors the clear Caribbean skies overhead. Maybe it's the fresh, crisp taste of this beastly cold beer on a scorching hot day. Maybe it's even the way it brings us all together. But one thing is for sure, Carib is very much a part of who we are wherever we're from in the Caribbean. Carib. It's the way we play. Drink responsibly.
Superior performance. performance, captivating exterior, elevated comfort, exhilarating power, iconic features. Jeep is here. Available now at Horchford's Automotive.
I have a surprise for mosquito, roach and flies. Bob makes all of them die. Don't bother with the long chat, Bob tell you why. Bob makes all of them die. To take care of my premises, I have to stand guard. Bob kill insects, small or large. When me use my yard, me no need no bodyguard. Bob takes care of roach in a house and yard. Surprise for mosquito, roach and flies. Bob makes all of them die. Don't bother with the long chat, Bob tell you why. Get serious, get Bob.
Like us on Facebook, www.facebook.com/ramsupermarket. Follow us on Twitter, www.twitter.com/ramsupermarket. And subscribe to us on YouTube, www.youtube.com/ramsupermarket.
Staying healthy has taken on a whole new meaning these days. So we ask, why do you put your health first?
As a business professional, I need to make the most out of my work days.
I'm a teacher, and I want to be there for my students.
In sports, I have to be in top form for my team.
Motherhood, I just got to keep up with my kids.
Because my patients rely on me to be at my best.
Staying healthy is important for many of us, and Halib Orange makes it easy. Just one 1,000 milligram tablet of vitamin C gives your immune system a flavorful boost, leaving you protected and feeling good for the day ahead. Halib Orange Vitamin C. Just pop the cap, drop it in water, let it fizz, and enjoy. Part of the Halib Orange family.
Welcome back to Island Tea with your faves, Kevin and Asim, featuring Jade, Gwen, Quenisha, Johnson. And it's time to jump into Eat Local with none other than the greatest artist himself, Vaughn Anslyn. How are you?
Good morning. I'm well. Thank you.
Vaughn, I'm honored. That's the first thing. Let's get that out.
Right.
Thank you very much.
Really appreciate you taking the time out to come down and have a conversation with us. The man walk out here and even zooming in. The man gonna come and just sit down in the studio. You know what I mean? Which, as much as people might think I'm referencing the fact that Vaughn resides in Nevis, that's not what I'm saying. He's one of them people I go anywhere I see this man.
That's true. That is true. Different islands too.
All over the place. You just, hey man, who that Vaughn? There's one on the stage already.
Just randomly.
Randomly, like all over the place.
Yeah, we've bumped into a few islands as well.
And it's like, that really speaks to the fact that your talent is recognized not only here in the Federation, but further abroad, further afield. And we have mentioned before that, you're involved in art. But for the people listening, tell us a bit about who is Vaughn, and like, for instance, where did this passion come from, and when did you discover that you had a talent for the stuff that you're doing now?
Wow, who is Vaughn? That is a complex question, because I question myself at that times, because my ability goes beyond my own comprehension. I don't know how I know what I know. I attribute it only to a God-given talent, and I have a knack for doing things right the first time, which is very rare. I look at something and I conceptualize it in my head, and I'm able to put it on paper, on wall, on canvas. And that is, I kind of reach to this point where I just don't question it anymore. I just see a situation and I go for it.
Before you even continue, because that in itself is interesting to me, right? As a fellow creative, the way you try, and again, I know it's something that is difficult, but the way that we try to verbalize whatever it is that is going on.
You can't.
In your mind, and it's hard to try and verbalize. And I recognize you're sitting there and you're trying to do it.
I will tell you something. I used to work at the Four Seasons where I did decor and pretty much, set designs and stuff. And they would always come to me and they want a plan. Of course, people like to have an idea of what to expect.
Right.
And I couldn't answer that question. I just knew that I knew what I was going to do. But to tell that to someone else is a waste of time because they wouldn't even understand it, even if you tried to break it right down into little syllables.
Right.
And so it's a thing with creative people in general. It's very hard to bring what you have inside of you outward. And I myself don't even know what I'm going to do until I'm right there doing it.
See, that's the thing that I want to explore, right? Because what I'm getting from what you're saying is, it's not that you sit and you can close your eyes and you can see what it is that you're about to create. It more comes as you begin. Do you have a starting point? Do you have a concept in mind? Like, I'm just trying to get an understanding of what that process is. Is there a vision in your mind, in your mind's eye, where I see what this is going to be, or is it more like it tells me as I bring forth what the next step is?
Okay, let me use my most recent painting, which is a mural I did at the market in St. Kitts.
By the way. Beautiful.
Thank you. I went there with Dale Kelly. She told me about this area. The vendors have been taken off the streets and they're now in one place, and she just needs something to brighten up the area. I went in there. I looked around the room and said, okay, I'm going to put something on that wall. And, Dale was like, well, what are you going to do? I said, I'm going to come up with something. And then, there's a guy there, he was the manager of the place, and he's like, well, what are you going to paint? I said, I have no idea, but I'm just going to put something on the wall. Mm-hmm. But then I came down the Saturday evening. I went there, and the security guy was there, and he's like, can you see? I was like, yeah, man. So the wall was painted white, and they were power washed already. And I just had a marker in my hand, and I marked lines. That's all. Just put some lines.
So even at this point, you don't know what the finished product is going to be. Exactly.
But I came down with 28 colors, 28 pans of paint. And I lined them off on the ground, and I was like, wow, this is something. But then with marker in hand and one brush, by the way, 1.5 inch angled tip brush. I would never, and that's all I used. 28 paints, one brush.
Wow.
And I started with a color and a concept. And from painting, I put in another line. And I said, this will now be a tree, and that will be the sun, and that represents this and this. And I went from right to left.
Wow.
And the picture just evolved. And then I put in a banana, I put in a coconut, symbols from the marketplace itself. And when I was finished is when I stepped back and looked back at the wall. I was like, wow.
That is what I...
Because I've never done art like this before. This kind of abstract images that intersect with... I've never even done this before. Right. This is totally new to me, but I've seen it done. And I was like, you know what, that kind of like fits into the concept what I have here, because I wanted it to be a mural where you look at it, you take from it. It didn't want to be just a painting of some fruits that you look at it and you say, oh, it's just some fruits.
Right.
But where the lines intersect, two lines will create something else. One image blends into another, which is something else. And so the suggestion of images are there. There's a fish in it somewhere, and if you can find it, that's good. And there's a tree, and there's a sunrise, and there's a flower, and there's fruits, and that kind of thing. Some are more obvious than others. But that's the kind of thing. And someone messaged me and I said, Vaughn, you really brightened my day when I walked into the market, and all I want to do now is fix up my stall. And that is exactly why I did it. And I wasn't hired to do this. And let me make that perfectly clear. I wasn't hired to do this because I don't like to think that what I do is of monetary value. The value comes from the appreciation, not even the appreciation by officials and stuff. I don't look for that. The people is who I work for, and the people is who I really try to get my art across. And it took some time for me to reach this point where now it's not about the recognition, so to speak. but the appreciation.
Right, and there's a big difference between that.
Yes, exactly. And I do what I do for people, for the fellow artists, because a lot of times people say, this is not something that you do for a living. And I've met up with that Stonewall so many times, and it's like, well, yes, you can, but you just have to know how to market and push yourself forward.
Right. Right. You were saying, Kevin?
Yeah, a lot of artists that usually say that they don't really do things for like the monetary value. It's more of like they do it to be consumed. And then you were describing that you did that mural and you only looked at it at the end when you walked away. Have you ever done something similar to that, and at the end of it you weren't satisfied? And what did you do after that?
Satisfied. Yeah, at the end of each mural, at the end of each painting, I am satisfied. If I go back to it, I'm not satisfied.
Okay.
Because I am always, I live by the suggestion that you're only as good as your last job.
Right.
So I constantly try to reinvent and re-evolve myself. I don't try to limit or see limitations wherever they are. I see the challenge not as a challenge, but as an invitation, because from there, it's like, okay, I know I could do this. It's just how I'm going to do it. And I have a saying that when people come to me and say, can you do this? I was like, don't ask me if I can. Ask me how much.
Right.
Because the fact that if I can is not what's at stake here. It's how much you're willing to pay to me to create that.
Right. Yeah, I mean, it's been on display. Your level of talent, and it's so refreshing to hear you almost see yourself as a vessel where this inspiration passed through. Like, it's almost like you're suggesting to me that the inspiration comes and you are the vessel that then brings it in this physical form for people to consume and enjoy and appreciate, as opposed to, man, I just got it all figured out and I can just like display my talent for people here and people can love me for it.
Well, I said to myself, I was given this talent for a reason. I am who I am for a reason, and it's not. I can do it to make money. I mean, I've been approached by many artists who I've been in contact with online who wish that I was in their location to do what they do, because they always say, "Oh man, you can make a lot of money," but the thing is, it's not about that. And I don't, before, let me put it like this, before there was language, before there was writing, there was art. And it's a form of expression. And anybody who has any ounce of creativity in them will know this. Now, like the previous guy said before, art is sometimes a personal thing. I know a lot of artists who will never show their work, but they do it in secrets and at home because their fear is ridicule and criticism, because they don't want to be told, oh, that don't look good. And this is a reason why I don't really enter art competitions. Not that I don't win, because every one I enter, I've always won. The problem with that is, how can you tell another artist that his work is not as good as mine, or mine is better than his? Because within art, there's only where you are. In any creative development, you only are where you are within your development.
Right.
So because I've ascended through leaps and bounds, I am now ahead of him, but yet here I am being compared in the same format. It's just unfair.
Right.
It's unfair. So, and then to be told that you're not as good as this person may cause that person to not be creative again. You might stop drawing because, oh, I'm never good enough. I will never be as good as, So it kind of demotivates people.
Right.
And I don't want that to happen. It's like when you see a child scribbling on a wall. That's their thing of creativity. Instead of beating that child and tell them, stop that, give them a piece of paper and say, scribble on this.
Right.
Don't block that creativity. Channel it.
Right.
And that's the thing. A lot of people don't realize that we all have that. Some people suppress it, but some people, go forward with it.
Well, I don't know who would be responsible for stopping me, but I am still at the scribbling stage.
Same.
We all are. I am.
Well, my scribble somehow doesn't look like your scribble.
At all. Even when I'm creating logos and stuff, like I would scribble something down, and I'm like, I know I'm trying to draw, but hey, looking like it on paper. But when I put it into my computer and all of these things, it comes alive. But to be able to just draw, like, that is such a talent. I've seen people who are able to make portraits out of dominoes and like how do you even know that you could do this?
That's next level stuff right there.
Like, how do you even figure out that you could do these type of things?
You see, art is a form of expression, and I'll give you, it's an emotional response, because someone asked me one time in an interview, they said, well, what is art? I said, art to me is like love. It's like anger, it's like fear, it's an emotional response. It's what you create is how you feel. And a lot of times when you see people do some kind of drawings and you're like, what kind of a mind did that? But that's who they are inside. Right. And I'll give you a perfect example. I did a painting, a mural in Nevis, and it was during our lockdown time in COVID. And, I asked the police, just give me a chance, let me just go and do your painting, because, I wasn't bothering nobody. And I climbed over a wall, went down into a culvert, and there was a plain wall, nicely plastered, everything. It was beneath a bridge. And I painted this painting of a face that's looking through like a crack in the wall. But that was how I felt at the time. And I posted it, and I posted a picture of myself next to it as well. And funny enough, the Black Lives Matter movement asked me to use that painting because it symbolizes exactly what they were feeling.
So the feeling, the emotion resonated.
Yes, exactly.
Even though there was no words.
Right, there was no words behind it. It was just a face, and it was like being caught on the inside looking out, being caught between a rock and a hard place, the sadness that you're feeling at the time, and peeping through where you can't get through. Right. All those images were there without any words whatsoever. And they took the image and they broke it apart in like a puzzle, where they had little pieces of it, and it kind of fit together, and they had some context. I was like, wow, blown away by it. I was like, oh, how much do you want for this? I was like, no, just tell me thank you, and I'm good.
Man, and it's incredible how again your work has been able to travel far past the physical federation.
Yeah.
But you are an envision. You consider yourself an envision man. Is that fair to say?
I will always say this. I was born in Nevis, but I'm not from there.
Okay, so tell me a bit about why that would be what you said.
Because we grow up on an island, think we're from an island. We grow up in a small place thinking that we're from a small place. I never thought like that. I never talk, dress, act, look, anything like I was from Nevis. I was from a small island, a third world country, if you will. And I marketed myself above that of the kind of work that I produce. I was like, I'm not gonna just limit myself to here. I'm gonna be past here. My people that I used to associate with and look towards were artists that most people will just look at as like, wow, they will look at that but never try to get to that. Well, not me. I always said I could be that way and I could be like that. And what constitutes to fame? What constitutes to a success? You really have to ask yourself that question. What is success? By monetary value? I don't think so.
Right.
My success is not that. It's the people that I touch and the lives that I've changed through my work. My hands have taken me all over the world, and I've met some very interesting people, and through all of this, it's not because I am who I am, it's because of what I've done. Right. And I think that alone in life is how you should measure yourself. What do you bring to the table at the end of the day? How do you contribute to life? When I do portraits for people that have a relative that has died, or a loved one, and they look at the drawing and they stare at it, and you see a tear come out of the eye because I've managed to capture some sort of emotion. And that response alone is enough for me, because I've touched somebody's life in a way that words couldn't have. Right. And I think that's why I treasure my ability so much, and I'm willing to share it with everyone, and I don't hold it to myself. If you drive around Nevis and you'll see many paintings that are around Nevis, I've not been paid for one of them. I did them on my own because it's what I contribute to my society. Now, a lot of people might not give me the recognition for that, but the people appreciate it, and that's good enough.
Right. But how do you believe, and the fact that you've been given back in such a way to the Federation, I believe that may signal admission by yourself that the Nevis, whether it's the people, the environment, played some role in developing this talent that you have, right? So when did you recognize that you had this talent and decided that this is something that I want to pursue?
All right. In life, you have a choice. When you can either listen to what people say and go along with them or prove them wrong. If you want to go along with the negative, you will always be negative, and then you will live in that bubble, and then you'll a shoulda, a coulda, a woulda, but you didn't. Then there are those who's like, you know what? I'm going to prove that person wrong, or I'm going to prove this wrong. I'm not going to be that way. I'm going to rise above that. I'll give you a perfect example. When I was growing up, my dad, he wanted me to be a fisherman. He wanted me to follow in his footsteps like his father before him and be a boat captain, live on the sea. But at an early age, I realized that was not for me. And that speaks volume to a lot of creative people as well, because their parents try to push them into a lawyer, doctor, bank worker, something like that. And they push them in a job that they want them to do versus what this child is passionate about.
Right.
Well, I was passionate about art, and I've always been drawing. Any teacher of mine will tell you, Vaughn will draw everything in class, or he'll take the other students' homework and draw it for them. It was always my thing.
Right.
And you know, my dad never liked that. He always was against it. He never thought that I would be this kind of person. So, but yeah, it brought me to a realization that I have to be better than what people think I am, or I have to prove myself.
Right.
So I didn't just want to draw a picture. I wanted to draw a picture well. I wanted to draw a face like you could just, some paintings you look at and say, like, that kind of look. No, I wanted it to look like that person. I wanted to feel what that person felt at that time. And that is what I worked so hard. I mean, it took me 5 years before I even showed someone a portrait that I drew. Because I am a very bad critic of myself. I will draw and I will finish and I was like, and I will rip it up and it's gone again. And I will spend hours. My mom was a very, very good supporter of my work because she always knew that I had something greater within myself. And she actually built an extension onto our house outside when we were growing up, and she said, "Okay, that's for you to draw and paint in."
Your first art studio.
Yes, my first art studio, and I was eternally grateful for that. And I would be out there, I would literally be out there all night, and she would just come outside in 2 o'clock in the morning, put on a little bit plate of food and some water, and she gone. Because she knows.
Yeah.
Don't tell me to come.
You're in your space.
Exactly. Don't tell me to go to bed.
Supportive moms one time.
Right. Yeah. And that speaks volume even to a relationship and to creative people. There are times when you need your space. You're in your zone. You need to create. But there's always that other person that would not comprehend that. They come out and, "Oh, honey, can I get a kiss?" Or no, break that up. I'll come to bed, or you're working too hard, or whatever.
Right.
You don't want to hear that. There's no such thing as working too hard for me. I am here, and this is it. You might feel tired when you're done, but in that space, in that time has no presence there. You don't feel tired, sleepy, nothing. It's just you and that. And that's when I did that mural at the market. I started at 8 a.m. 10 a.m. I finished at 8 p.m.
Wow.
Non-stop, no break, no pause.
When you're in the mood by
one day. That's what I did at mural in one day.
That's wild.
And that's just to show you. When I got there, I just fixated on that. This is what I wanted to do, and I had an audience that I needed to show this to, and that put the pressure on me to create something that was great. And that's what I did. And nothing in between there mattered. No food, no water, no nothing. And that was it. So that's the state at where creativity is.
But you see, I've been listening to you, and this is why I started the question in the way I did. Because from the time you started speaking, I'm recounting Maya Angelou trying to describe how she got poems and how that process was. And she said that she would be maybe out in the cotton fields or whatever, you know, picking cotton with her parents or whatever, and it would come like a wind, right? And the wind would blow through her, like the poem would blow through her. And she would literally have to run back to wherever she could get some pen or paper or pencil, whatever. If she had to do it in the dirt, right? She would have to do that. Because once that passed through her, it gone forever. And she would just have to, once she's in that mode, she just have to keep going, just write. She just had to get it out. And there was no stopping for no water, no food, no nothing. You just have to get it out. And I think that space is a very blissful place. I don't think a lot of people who have not practiced expressing it. I believe everybody have some creativity in them, but people who have not like really practiced to give themselves over to that creativity, I don't think they recognize what is happening in that moment. And to me, it's a very beautiful thing to witness. And don't bother talk about the end results of that, you know. So what you're saying is really resonating with me for that reason.
All right, you see you? Okay, now I'll use you. You hear the world.
Right.
You hear the world in sound, in pitches, in highs and lows and that kind of thing. And throughout your everyday, when you walk, all you hear is sound.
Right.
Cars, buildings, atmosphere, everything. You pick up that, and you're constantly going through all that in your head. Me, I see the world in color, in shades of light and dark, and hues and contrast,
shadows, and
exactly. So we are slaves to our own environment based on our own creative nature. Me, I have files on my computer of rocks, of clouds, of sky, of leaves, trees, big files. I'm talking hundreds of pictures that I study. I don't see a leaf as green. I see a leaf as white, black, green, blue, yellow, pink, orange, all subcolors within the color. And so life to me is art. The whole, my encompassing nature is art, and I've used it in every form of my work. I said I'm not a decorator. I'm an artist, but I use art to decorate.
Right. Gotcha.
You know, they're decorators, fine. There are people who place items and put them there, and that's it. I'm artistic. I use art to do decorations. I mean, when you see stuff like Breaking Dawn, for example, where I create the spandex roof and stuff, people are like, how you do that? I say, I don't even know. I just put fabric together and create a roof.
It might be almost like asking people how you feel that.
But exactly
How you
that.
explain how you feel.
You can't say how you do it, but how did you feel that? Because that's exactly what I do.
Right.
I feel what I do.
Right.
It's a feeling of mine that I will never be able to put into words, because for the life of me, I don't even know how. I just see it as a blank between a starting point and an end point. And I have a saying, I don't normally finish a project, I just stop working on it.
Right.
Because I could continue. I could constantly evolve what I'm doing, and it's never ending. Creativity is never ending, but you just have to find a cutoff point where it's okay. It's enough for me to leave here and have it viewed
and give it to the world and have its own life.
Exactly. But I can go back to it again and again and again and reinvent the same picture 50 times easily.
Wow. But I mean, it's so interesting. I mean, we have all seen, at least us here on Island T, we've seen the mural at the market, and personally I want to thank you for doing that, and all who were involved in that, because I mean it brings such life to the space and to the area, and I believe that even if you were commissioned to do that, I don't think there's a price you could have charged that would have adequately. Yeah.
No.
There's no price. There's no price.
Yeah.
So thank you for that. But what's next for you, Vaughn? Like what you have planned? What you have coming up, if anything?
Well, to be fair, I've been working with the movies that are being filmed in Nevis. I'm actually the set designer.
Okay.
For these movies. So I usually create what you see on the film. So a lot of times where we create, so like, there's one movie that we had, and it required a garden. So we had to literally plant an entire garden for one scene of movie.
That's what it is.
I'll be involved in making the props. Where somebody gets stabbed, you create the knife that make it look like the stab, and that kind of thing. The fake blood. And if we have a costume department, we have an arts department. So I'm the art department. So we've stopped filming for a little while, and we'll resume the end of this month, early next month, and that's about the next 4 films that we're working on now. One of them, actually, I think we're going to be at Kitchen Hill for a while, so
okay,
we'll be in St. Kitts. Apart from that, I have in Nevis, what we're planning to do with the tourism, this is very unique, is have an art hunt where I have created a map of the island, and the tourists will have this map and they'll go around to see the different places that have done the murals.
Nice.
And find them, and each one of them have their own meaning and their own thing like that. And then, it's like an art treasure hunt, if you will. And so it's a
cool way to discover the island as
exactly,
well.
Exactly. So I'm constantly working on that when I have a little time, create some little murals here and there. And so each one of them have their own meaning, and that as well. I'll probably be doing something at the park for CPL. I did the flag that's up there on the building. Not much people know that.
Well, okay, I didn't know that.
And the Warner Park sign that's up there, I made that. And in the VIP lounge, there's some steps and there's some swirls going around the steps on red, yellow, and green lines. I did all of that. So, but I'm probably doing some more work up there soon. Probably brightening up the area. There's a huge restoration project going on right now. So, I'll probably be involved in a little part of that for next week.
Well, you really keep him busy. A lot going on.
I stay busy.
Which is why I'm even more thankful now that you were able to come in.
Yeah.
And have a conversation.
Well, I prefer. I don't like the Zoom thing. I prefer to be in the room.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. But even just taking the time to just like have this conversation.
It's an important thing. I like stuff like this. It's a way of verbalizing what I feel.
Right. Right. So and a lot of people on the live, they're verbalizing what they feel. You have people saying Vaughn is a national treasure. People are saying they want to salute this great man, humbly in his own life. You know what I mean? So people are giving you titles and really bigging you up on what you've been able to achieve and what you're doing.
Giving you your flowers while you're here.
Giving you your flowers.
Yeah, indeed. Man, it's been a real pleasure. This conversation really pretty much made my day. I think I'll have a good day now.
I'll
have a good day now.
Thank you very much.
But draw something at him.
Please, Jade, let us not spoil.
Here's the thing, Jade. So Jade, me and you don't bad, because Vaughn sees the world in colors as him hears the world, and while me and you.
Hold on, who is me and you?
So
I taste the world. I'm always wondering what.
I might not be as good as Vaughn, but I create. So I see the world in fonts and lettering and colors.
Okay, I eat. I just eat.
Oh yeah, I saw this.
Yeah, I saw this. That one is lovely, boy.
That's what I meant.
Kevin, what you say? I just eat.
Ridiculous.
Just eat.
That's those things are needed.
Yeah, Kevin tastes the world. Yeah. That's what he tastes
the world.
Well, it's everybody. Carpenters, the dancers, the singers, the poets, everybody that's creative to the point where it's a feeling versus just something that they do. It overcomes them. It overwhelms them. And the problem with that is the world doesn't see these as normal people.
Yeah.
True.
They have the hardest time because everything they do is so over the top or over the chain, or you're just extra. But it's your way of expressing yourself, and it may not fit into what you see as normal, but it's our normal. It's our life, and it's hard to convey that. And when you see a lot of celebrities, those creative celebrities that gets bashed because of their choices, you can't really blame them if you know what they're feeling.
Like I tell people, you can't expect someone who's extraordinary to be ordinary at the same time.
But that's the thing.
They're just them. They're just who you are.
You don't exist in that world, in that plane, and it's kind of hard to. You have to literally normalize or censor yourself to become a part of normal life. But if you were to live the way you want to live, you'd probably get locked up because it's not seen as what's conducive to what is viewed as normal.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Well, perhaps even in the context of everything that's happening now, we could at least try to agree that no one knows exactly what normal is.
Yeah, it's true.
This return to normalcy that everybody's talking about. I keep asking people, what is normal?
Exactly.
You know, just evolve and move forward,
Evolve.
and we continue to adapt, and hopefully adapt in the best ways possible. But Vaughn, it's been a real pleasure. Thank you so much again for coming out.
But thank you very much for having me.
It's been a pleasure. It's been a pleasure beyond measure.
Definitely.
But guys, man, thank you guys as well for joining us this morning right here on Island Tea.
Yep.
Again, if you want to join us online, you could also do so at WINNMedia SKN on Facebook as well as on YouTube. You could check us out at WINNMediaSKN.com. This is the WINNMedia's website. And you could listen to us on your radio.
Your good old radio.
Yes, 98.9, and we're here every morning from 8 to 10.
Except for Saturdays and Sundays.
Well, yeah, Saturday and Sundays. Them they don't look for us.
Yeah.
Don't look for us. But if this is your first time listening, hopefully we ain't run you.
You know.
And if this is your last time listening, good riddance. But guys, guys, it's been a real pleasure. Big up to all the people on the live. Big up to all the callers. Appreciate you guys so much. But before we leave, we're going to have to leave you with some words of wisdom.
Yes.
From the man himself, the Prosecco Papi, the Duke of Frigippe, the man with a million smiles, the chapstick Don, the Slim God, the Pope of Hygiene, the man himself, Kevin Hanley.
Because you can't be everybody's cup of tea, because you is not a mug. See you tomorrow.